Hi, I'm Alessandra Cummins, Director of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. I'm here today enjoying a conversation with Charles Codd Reynolds, who is the owner, and I should say more than the owner, the visionary who has brought together this group of images of black people in Britain between the 18th and 19th, early 20th centuries. So we're having a little talk about some of the images in that collection, and I want to say thank you very much, Charles, for considering to have these pieces here, and really looking forward to talking with you about some of them. This is a very different image now of a black woman, a woman who, in essence, in this image, Wouski, is somewhat caricatured, and I want you to tell us a little bit about this image and why it has a role to play in this collection.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, part of the collection is looking at historic figures, or those that we have a strong reason to believe did live and did. And this is King George III's son, Prince William Henry, although it is rather subtly marked just on the trunk below, because the producer of this image, who herself was a woman prince seller, just needed to be a little bit careful in 1788.
A woman print seller?
Yeah.
So, yes, tell us a bit more about
well,
her too.
This would be a sort of under-the-counter type of print, because it was connecting the prince, who was a sailor serving here in the West Indies, with his black lover that was widely known about, and she is given this generic name of Wouski, which, as you say, is connecting with a much older story, and she was described as his constant companion. This image probably did happen based on events in Barbados, although, as has been pointed out here, why does it say Jamaican rum underneath the hammock? But then you were going to tell me about this image below, which is connecting the name.
The connection is really this, that we have this image in the Barbados Museum collection, which is called, I'll translate it into English, an Englishman of Barbados who has sold his woman into slavery. Okay. And this is the long title of the shorter version, of which Barbadians would tend to know, the story of Inkle and Yarico. And very simply, Jean Marot, who's a French printmaker in the 1750s, and so it's even later than the actual story is supposed to have taken place. The story of Inkle and Yarico is first captured officially in our earliest history of Barbados, a natural history of Barbados by Richard Ligon. That was produced in 1649, published around 1650-52. So that period of time, and he was in Barbados for about 3 or 4 years, meant that he was exposed to a number of different experiences with all parts of the community, all parts of the population, including the enslaved, the free, the white, and, as we now know, more of, enslaved Amerindians. But this story has an even earlier origin, because what Ligon was writing down, the story of Yarico, who was enslaved in Barbados, was as a result of the activity of the merchant, the young merchant, Inkle, who had gone to the South American mainland in pursuit of wealth on behalf of his father and their merchant house, got himself into trouble. I can't go into a lot of detail at this time, and was captured by the Amerindians while in South America. And in his captivity, he was helped and supported by Yarico. Yarico looked after this man. She cared about him. She wanted to protect him from being killed by her father and his cohorts. And at a certain point, helped Inkle to slip away from his captivity, and went with him on board a British ship which sailed from South America to Barbados. In Barbados, Inkle did not return the favor. Inkle instead decided that he, and by this time his now pregnant lover and friend and supporter, he decided that he would be much better off if he sold her into slavery, her and the unborn child, and was able then to have enough money to live reasonably and then to return to England. So that is the background against this image, which was produced, as I said, around the... actually, this image is produced based on a painting, a larger painting, by an English artist named Shepherd, I think. And that's in the Royal Maritime Museum collection. Yeah. So it was interesting that Moreau decided to extract just this section of quite a large panoramic painting, and to focus on the tragedy of white and enslaved Indian relations. Where does Wouski come in? Because then this image and the whole story of Inkle and Yarico gets told in, if not the Gentleman's Magazine, a similar magazine.
Yes.
And it is told in that magazine, and then it is taken and developed into an entire play, a very popular play on the English stage, that then finds its way across Europe. It's shown in France, it's shown in Germany, in a number of locations. And the whole story is enhanced by another couple of white and brown people. Yes. Who Wouski was supposed to be the supporter of Yarico. So this treatment of that person talks about another kind of betrayal between these two individuals, and that's what is interesting to me, because the story carries from the history book into a painting in the next century, and then into a print it's following that same century, and then into a play, which then gets translated, and then that image of Wouski gets translated into this caricature and that whole story.
Yeah, no,
very, very interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I really want to encourage everyone to come and see this exhibition, The Black Presence, which is still on display at the Barbados Museum. It reveals many fascinating chapters in Barbadian and Caribbean history through the lens of British artists. And we have a unique opportunity to tell and retell these many stories. We look forward to having you with us.